have one fairly serious question for. They're all serious questions, but this one's a little more serious than average. I don't do gotcha questions. I've got a couple of easier questions, hopefully. But because I don't feel it's a gotcha question, because you've been very public about the fact that you've got Parkinson's, and on January 2nd of 2017, you very publicly wrote about how Parkinson's was going to make you a better writer. And I read that. I thought, well, you know what? There's a lot to that. And now I wonder, well, here we are, 2021. It seems like this is the perfect time for a follow-up. Were you correct? Has it made you a better writer in the way that you thought, or has it made you a better writer in new ways you didn't perceive?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So first of all, definitely, it's out there about the Parkinson's, so no worries there. In fact, I didn't talk about the Parkinson's with my little pitch for the last Super Chef, but it's not really a spoiler or reveal at the end, because there's a lot more to the way the story ends. But you know, for what you call our listeners esteemed audience, so I have Parkinson's, and part of the reason I wrote the last Super Chef was because I was having a lot of thoughts about that, and so basically, again, this is not a big spoiler or even a spoiler at all, but the reason the Super Chef is doing what he's doing is because he has Parkinson's, and so that character was created. I created him sort of out of, you know, the thoughts I was having about, you know, getting through this and dealing with this and so forth. And maybe for those that are watching, you know, I have pretty good control over my meds right now, so I don't maybe visually, you know, make it seem like I have, but I'm early in the disease. So anyway, the reason he's doing what he's doing is because he also is dealing with an early diagnosis of Parkinson's. So there's that. So that's one of the sources of the book. Now, as far as like making it a better writer, I would say both. I would say, you know, the new ways probably outside, if folks want to go back and find that blog post, my blog is still out there on my website and so forth, and I appreciate you finding it. Probably
as of about an hour and a half before we started talking.
Awesome. So what I would say probably is talk about more of the new things, and folks can read that blog post and kind of see that stuff. And I would say a lot of that is also true and still true. But you know, it led me to really, I think in writing, we're trying to be like sort of authentic. I think authentic is a big word for me in writing. So in fact, I think with the books, one of the reasons the books that got published, you talked earlier in the podcast about the ones that didn't get published. I think there were times in those earlier books, although some of them were good stories, where I wasn't really being completely authentic. You know, sometimes I was writing from the point of view of characters that I really didn't have. I think, you know, we have this term own voices and stuff. I don't know. I know that that's kind of controversial and so forth, but I wasn't always being authentic. Let's say it that way and not use the own voices term. So I think what something like Parkinson's has allowed me to do is, you know, be authentic and really try to write something that and be very honest about the things I deal with through what the Super Chef is dealing with. And I think you become a better writer the more authentic you try to be, the more authentic you really are. So like, would I have been authentic if I didn't have Parkinson's? I mean, sure. I suppose it's not Parkinson's that's making me better in that case, but I think it gave me something that was something that I could be more forthcoming about. And I think it's important as a writer to try to find those things that you can be forthcoming about, and that really the emotions, the things that are important to you, or the things that are happening to you, or whatever, you can kind of pour into your stories, because I think that makes stories that resonate with people, even though they might be very far away from those experiences. You know, I hope nobody reading it has to deal with some of the things. But I suppose that's the way I would answer that question, is that it allowed me to have a sort of a platform I knew I could be, you know, authentic about. I think in the first book, obviously, Dan Unmasked, I was being very authentic about this love of comic books and baseball and sports and what it is to be a kid, you know, in that kind of town. It was very similar to the town I grew up in. Super Chef is less from my experiences as a kid. Like, I wasn't a kid who was this great cook or anything. Like, all that stuff I had to research. But what was more authentic was, you know, the part that Super Chef is dealing with. So I don't know if I sort of jumped around that answer, but maybe that works. I guess that's what comes to mind. Yeah.